Robert Louis Stevenson's classic story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is a perfect myth for the psychological reality Carl Jung called the shadow. Dr. Jekyll is the perfect persona, a respectable, intelligent, and kind Victorian gentleman, but within him lives the repressed, brutish, and instinctual Mr. Hyde. Jekyll's great mistake was not in having a dark side, everyone does, but in trying to completely separate himself from it. His attempt to deny and destroy his shadow is precisely what allowed it to grow in power until it ultimately consumed him. Jung wrote, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." Welcome back to Mapping the Soul. Today, we undertake the most challenging, most essential, and most rewarding part of the inner journey. We step behind the persona, away from the light, and we venture into the darkness to meet our own personal Mr. Hyde. We are going into the shadow. What is the shadow? It is the archetype of everything we have repressed in ourselves. It is everything we deny being. It is all the parts of our personality that our conscious ego, our family, and our society have deemed unacceptable. It might contain our aggression, our selfishness, our vulnerability, our sexuality, our laziness, our irrationality. It is, in short, everything we are, that we have convinced ourselves we are not. The shadow is formed in childhood. As we grow, we learn what behaviors are rewarded and what behaviors are punished. If we are praised for being quiet and compliant, our boisterous, rebellious side gets pushed into the shadow. If we are told that boys don't cry, our vulnerability and sadness go into the shadow. The persona is the collection of our approved of traits. The shadow is the collection of our rejected traits. The ego stands between them, trying to keep them separate. Most people spend their entire lives running from their shadow. They deny its existence. They project it onto others. Projection is one of the most common and destructive psychological phenomena. When we have a part of ourselves that we cannot accept, we unconsciously project it onto other people or groups. The thing that irritates you most intensely in another person is often a disowned part of your own shadow. The arrogant man you can't stand. Perhaps he mirrors your own repressed desire for self-assertion. The lazy coworker who drives you crazy, perhaps they reflect your own unlived desire to rest and be unproductive. The world becomes a screen onto which we project our own inner demons. Jung's great insight was this: the shadow is not evil. It is simply unconscious. It is a source of immense energy, vitality, and creativity that has been locked away. He believed that the shadow contained not just negative traits, but also positive ones, a golden shadow. A person who was taught that it's not okay to be smart or ambitious might have their brilliance and drive locked away in their shadow. The goal of shadow work is not to defeat or destroy the shadow. That was Dr. Jekyll's mistake. The goal is integration. It is the courageous work of turning toward the darkness, making its contents conscious, and reintegrating that locked-away energy back into the whole personality. This is where the inner vision architecture becomes a powerful tool for this difficult work. The first step is detection. You must be willing to detect the signs of the shadow in your own life. Where do you have a surprisingly strong emotional reaction? What are your slips of the tongue? What are the recurring themes in your dreams, especially the nightmares? These are all transmissions from the shadow, clues to what lies hidden. The second step is to adjust your filtering system. You must suspend your moral judgment. When you detect a feeling of envy or rage or selfishness in yourself, your usual filter says, "This is bad. I am not this." The practice of shadow work is to change that filter to, "This is interesting. This is a part of me. I wonder what it has to say." You are approaching your own darkness with curiosity, not condemnation. This allows you to begin the process of recognition. You start to name your shadow parts. This is my inner critic. This is my rageful part. This is my lazy saboteur. You begin to have a dialogue with them. You can ask them, "What do you want? What are you afraid of? What do you have to teach me?" Often you will find that these shadow parts are like lost, angry children. They are acting out because they have been ignored and repressed for so long. When you turn the light of conscious, compassionate attention toward them, they begin to change. This is the process of understanding and integration. You understand why that part of you was created. You understand the pain it holds. And you consciously choose to welcome it back into the family of your psyche. This does not mean you let your rage run wild. It means you acknowledge your capacity for rage. You learn to channel that powerful energy into healthy assertiveness, into setting boundaries, into fighting for what is right. You integrate the energy of the shadow, but you do it consciously and ethically. When you integrate a piece of your shadow, you take back your projections. The person who irritated you so much no longer has the same power over you, because you have owned that quality in yourself. You become more whole, more authentic, and more compassionate both to yourself and to others. Because you are aware of your own capacity for darkness, you are less likely to be naively idealistic or self-righteous. This is not easy work. It requires immense courage and honesty. It is often painful to look at the parts of ourselves we have spent a lifetime denying. But the reward is immeasurable. It is the feeling of becoming a real, solid, three-dimensional human being, not just a flat, polished persona. It is the source of true self-respect and unshakable inner strength. In our next episode, we will journey even deeper into the unconscious to meet the archetype that shapes our relationships and our creative lives, the anima and animus, our inner masculine and feminine counterparts. For now, the practice is a courageous one. Pay attention to your projections. The next time you have a strong, negative, emotional reaction to someone, pause. Ask yourself, with radical honesty, what quality in this person am I reacting to? And is it possible, just possible, that this quality is a disowned part of my own shadow? Do not be afraid of the answer. You are simply taking the first step into the forest, on the path to becoming whole.